All right. Hello everyone. Welcome in, welcome back. Hopefully you all are doing well today. So before we get to the fun things, I need to inform you that I will be taking a break. I don't know how long this break is going to last. I don't know if it's going to be a week. I don't know if it's going to be 2 weeks. I don't know if it's going to be a month. What I do know is that I will be back. But when, I do not know. It's been kind of crazy this last month. And with things changing on my end, with the energies and the moving, it's been overwhelming. And I don't want to be overwhelmed with you guys. I love sitting here, love talking to you. That's nothing new. But I do need time to recenter my world before I feel as though I can come back and give you 110% of this. So today's reading is going to be the last one for a while. It's nothing you guys done. Don't think that. A while back when I was doing this as a business, which it is still kind of a business, but not in that way, it became more about a money aspect than it did about helping people, and that was a no-no. I did not like that at all. And, my vibration is very important. Talk about that on this channel a lot. But it's also the one thing that I have to keep under wraps, right? So when it's out of vibration, I don't feel like I can connect with you guys to give you the best message that I possibly can. It happens. But with this break, my intention is to step away from the cards, to give myself a little bit of a break. But there may be other videos that come through. I'm thinking about giving you guys vibrational videos, talking to you guys about how to maintain a vibration, how that leads into manifestation. It may not be card related, but I know that I care about each and every single one of you, and I'm not going to leave you in the dark. I am going to be stepping away from these. I love these, but as I've talked to you guys last week, all of these are falling asleep on me, which tells me that there's something outside of the scope of cards that I need to be doing. And I'm a vibrational person. People come to me to help adjust their vibration. I talk through their problems with them, give them different points of view. It's just what I do. It's another facet of what I do. And so this is kind of the direction that I'm going. Now, that doesn't mean that the cards will never return, right? I love these cards. I've loved all 24 sets that I have. I love them all. But there's only so much I can do when they all fall asleep. So I think this is where the transition of my energy and of my gifts is coming from. And so I want you guys to be aware that this is my next step. So I will be taking a break from the cards after today. But keep your eyes open, because I do want to talk about vibrations. I do want to talk about how your vibration, entangles with the world around you, which also entangles into your manifestations. It entangles into a lot. So don't think that this is the last time you're going to see me, because you and I both know better. But this is going to be the last time for right now that I use these cards, because they're starting to fall asleep. These are the last 3 sets of cards that haven't fallen asleep on me. The Souls on Fire by Mary Jo Cranmore and Juliet Gilden, the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed, and the Threads of Fate. These are the 3 cards that have not yet fallen asleep on me, but I feel like these are soon going to be asleep too. So, again, there's only so much I can do when all of your cards don't want to be used. I've cleansed and cleared them. I have done a lot with these cards, trying to coax them to wake up. No, So there's something else that I need to be doing. And I believe I have an understanding of what that is. But for right now, we're going to take a look at the cards, see what wants to come through. Your spirit guides are welcome here. My spirit guides invite yours in. And let's see where we're going. Okay? But this is not the last time that you guys are going to see me. I just saw Between Worlds. It's just a transition. It's just a transition. Underneath, we have Yang. That's Divine Masculine. Past energy, we have Deep Knowing. And future energy, we have By the Book. All right, guys. So you're working on something here. It's physical. Could be Divine Masculine that I'm talking to. That's just the energy here. But it's something physical. Something that has to be done in steps by the book. You know, you're starting with step 1, step 2, step 3. And I feel like you've known this sense of direction for a while. Sound familiar? There's been a deep knowing about the work that you've been doing. 43 goes to 7. We have 1 and then 11. Interesting. Underneath we have Connect to Heart. There's Divine Feminine. We have Yang and then Connect to Heart. The emotional side is Divine Feminine. Past energy, we have Surrender. Of course you are. And then Shadow. I feel like for some of you struggling to do things, and I'm right there with you, struggling to do things by the book, in steps, is not usually how people like us function. We usually function by intuition. We function based off of, you know, our feelings and what feels right. And it's not really an internal thing. Cosmopolitan, do not chew on that plant. Your father will kill you and then kill me. Don't do it. But intuitive people, you know, have a roundabout way of doing things. It's not usually by steps. But the by the book is important here. And I feel like you are stepping into a balanced area. Cosmopolitan. Do you need to go outside? No, I'm not even going to pause you today. You stay right there. Come on, you. Outside. There you go. Stay out of your father's planters, please. Last time he was outside, he dove headfirst into his father's planters and started digging. So that's why I told him to stay out of his father's planters. Anyway, but I feel like on a physical sense, you know, you're doing things by the book, which is good. You know, you can't build a house without building, you know, the foundation first, right? But on an emotional side, I feel like you were also surrendering to this journey, which is also a good thing. It is. Because we can't really control everything. That is also something that I'm learning. Even though I'm multifaceted, I see a plethora of different things. But I feel like you've been trying to be everywhere all at once. Trying to control the outcomes here. And I don't think you can do that. And that's where the surrender, the connect to heart, and the shadow comes in. You can't keep pushing through without some sort of an emotional investment or emotional stock. The emotional side is just as important as the physical work. And that's what I feel like is being reflected here. Underneath, we have the 7 of Cups. We have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the 4 of Cups. And we also have the King of Cups and the Tower. I also see this 8 of Swords here too. So here we have, you know, opportunities. You know, things are happening for you, which is good. It's wonderful. It could also be on a other spectrum of vibration, could also be confusion. You may not have a sense of direction. Take this for how this resonates for you. But the universe is trying to turn things forward, right? It is divine timing. You know, we have the Wheel of Fortune here. Destiny is going to play its hand out. And I feel like with that destiny comes messages. Four of Cups. There are messages coming in. I feel like they're coming from your spirit guides, from that higher source of energy that you have. And it's an emotional one. It is something that could very well be emotionally triggering for you because of the Tower and the Eight of Swords. It's like, okay. The people who refuse to grieve, I don't know why that's coming through. I heard the word refuse to grieve. It does have that energy, kind of like, you know, how when something terrible happens, and, you know, people are like, I'm fine, I just have to keep my head down, I have to keep doing the work, I have to keep doing this, because if they stop, is when that emotion starts to catch up to them, and then they start to crack. I feel like that's kind of what the universe wants. The universe wants you to kind of crack open. To crack open and get to the heart of things, to get to the root of what is happening. To give you a higher consciousness point of view. Raising consciousness, judgment, new choices, along with the moon. And it's coming from your intuition. It's coming from that emotional side of things. That's kind of how I am also going through the same thing. You know, logically, my brain is like, okay, we do readings Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Should be simple enough, right? With my work schedule and, you know, with everything, I just have to get it done. I just have to get it done. But emotionally, you know, this past week was really rough. And it's not, again, not anything of this. It's just, it's been overwhelming with the energy at hand. And when I finally stopped, when I finally took a moment to, you know, evaluate what was going on, you know, that's when it hit me that I have to take a break. And so it may be the same for you. Some of you could very well be taking a break, but there's something here coming from the emotional side that you were refusing to acknowledge that's coming through. Grounding this energy, there's the Ace of Cups. Yeah. Guiding this energy is the Seven of Pentacles. There's that work. There's that work. I have to do the work. I have to do the work. Past energy is the Queen of Cups. Future energy is the Hermit. So when that Queen of Cups shows up, in your past energy, I do feel as though that at one point in time, you know what, hold that thought. Five of Wands, Queen of Pentacles, the Sun, and the outcome is the Four of Wands. So, I feel like in the past, when, you know, this was presented to you, Nine of Pentacles, the Empress, the Page of Pentacles, and the World, when things like this were presented to you, I feel like you were in a good spot. And then when the emotions started to kind of come in, with that Page of Pentacles, I feel like new beginnings, smaller beginnings, started to pop up. Smaller branches of the path that you were walking started to pop up. And you started to see the end of this road that you were walking, the world, fixed endings and new beginnings. You started to see those endings, and so you're like, you kind of put your blinders on. You're like, I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to focus here. I'm going to continue forward, and I'm going to walk down this road wherever it takes me. It's almost like you refuse to, you know, kind of acknowledge this Seven of Cups. Because the Seven of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, the Four of Cups, the King of Cups, the Tower, and the Eight of Swords is what's happening underneath. It's what's happening behind the scenes, things that you don't want people to know. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people. I'm going to call you out on it. But I feel like the universe is trying to present you with other opportunities, and you're refusing to acknowledge those other opportunities. And I do feel like it's going to come to a head. With the Five of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Sun. So these are your emotion cards. This is what gets you from here to the Four of Wands. We've got the Five of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Sun. There's a conflict here. Whether it's an internal conflict, or whether it's a conflict with other people and their ideas. Wow. Hold that thought. That was Cosmo. they're cutting a tree out front, and the guy came around the side, and so Cosmo used his big boy bark to tell me that he was there. Anyway, um, but this is something that, could be an internal conflict or an external conflict of ideas. Five of Wands. Again, between you, or you and other people. Because I know that this probably isn't going to be too popular. I'm taking a break. It's probably not going to be popular, but it's not about you, it's about me. Anyway, but that's kind of the mentality that you hold on to, is the Queen of Pentacles and the Sun. You need to do what's going to make you happy. You have to do what's going to make you happy. And I feel like that's where your emotions are trying to come into play here. Tell me about this Hermit, because there's a lesson here. Strength. There's a light being shown. 5 of Swords. 6 of Swords. Where are we going? A different you. A different us. It is okay to be afraid of 7 of Wands. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to build walls when the situation requires it. There's nothing wrong with self-preservation. But there is a problem when you become too stagnant and too blinded to be able to see what the universe is trying to offer you. And now I feel like since you've prolonged it for so long, that the universe is like, unfortunately, we have to drop this right on the path in which you're on. This is something that is kind of being refused to be acknowledged. And I feel like it's time to acknowledge it. Again, this is something that you've suppressed for a while. And now the universe is trying to break that open, to break you open, to turn you in a direction and into an individual that is balanced both divine feminine and divine masculine. It's important. Too much divine masculine and you lose the emotion, can turn into a robot. And too much divine feminine, you lose the action and you just become an emotional mess. And that's why I feel like we're being hit with the shadow. Because some of us need to go through a shadow energy to remember what the light feels like. 9 of Cups, Knight of Wands, Queen of Swords, and the Hanged Man. This is going to give you a different point of view for yourself. For your self-worth, what's going to make you happy. This is going to inspire you in different ways. This is going to bring about a sense of clarity that you may have been ignoring for quite some time. But it's going to give you that different point of view that you're looking for. And in the end, it's going to lead you here. The 4 of Wands. To a better situation. To a better you. But I feel like it's almost like the road has led you to this massive cliff, right? And you're standing on one side, and what you want is on the other side. But the only way to get to the other side is to go down this cliff, go through that darkest part, and come back up on the other side. And while you're down there, you're going to learn some things about yourself. Some things that will help you see things from a different point of view. That way, when you do get to the other side, you'll be able to look back at this gap and be like, I am a completely different person because I went down there and came back up. I feel like that is what the universe has been pointing you towards for a while. Zodiac signs that I see. We do have water signs because we have the royal set. So I will take Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. We do have fixed signs. Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Libra, Taurus, Aries, Gemini, Scorpio, Virgo, more Scorpio, Sag, Leo, one more time, just to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Fixed signs Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Libra, Taurus, Aries, Gemini, Pisces, Scorpio, Leo, Virgo, Sag. And that is what I see. Thank you guys very much for joining me. As always, your company is well appreciated. And I will see you all when I return. Like I said, this is not goodbye. It's I'll see you later. I have my own cliff that I have to go down and come back up. But don't think that this is goodbye. Things are just going to shift, as they should. So until then, thank you very much for joining me. Thank your spirit guides for joining me. This, as usual, has been wonderful. And I will see you all again later. Bye for now, guys.